Hey guys, welcome back to the ExamRevision YouTube channel. My name is Ellen and today I'm going to be talking about some last minute tips to increase your grade in Leaving Cert English. This obviously could be used for higher level or ordinary level, but there's just some last minute tips. This is not going to get you a H1, being realistic, the exams are in a couple of weeks. But just some extra little tips that you might be able to implement that might help you along in the exam and give you that extra little bit of marks. So obviously you only might have 15 hours left to study English before you sit the exam. So I really just want to talk about some key things that you should be focusing on in those last couple of hours you have until you sit that exam, those last hours that you are allocating to English. Obviously starting off strong with Shakespeare, the first thing I think is so important to focus on in these last couple of weeks is focusing on the key themes and the characters. You really want to have a solid understanding of these themes and the characters and how they evolve. I feel like their significance and their development throughout the play is so important. And at the end of the day, you are going to be answering a question on themes or characters. So I do think it is a major thing you should be focusing on. I'm sure you have a bunch of notes from either your teacher, online, wherever, but in your last couple of hours, you should really be trying to deeply understand the development of these themes, these characters, how they change, their significance. It is a very, very important thing to focus on. The next thing I want to touch on is practice essays. I'm sure you've already written a million essays in the past year, but I do think honestly at this time it's still great to, like I was saying in my past video for maths, I think it's a great idea to open up an exam paper that you have never looked at before. Do not look at the marking scheme, do not look at your notes. Go to the essay question and do one of the essays. Obviously you don't know the marking scheme and the examiner might mark it differently, blah, blah, blah. But I still think it's a great idea to sit down and do one of these essays. See how confident you feel with no notes but no nothing. And under time pressure, make sure that there's one of the options that you are actually comfortable answering. Because at the end of the day, you are going to open up that exam paper and all of the essays are going to be new to you. You wouldn't have ever written anything probably similar to it. So just write an essay. It's good practice, even though you can't mark it and see how you did, unless you're very close to your teacher and maybe you can hand it in to them. I still think it's a great idea for put yourself in the exam situation under time pressure, no notes, no nothing, just sit down and do one of the essay questions and see how you feel about it and how you act under pressure so you can kind of judge how you're going to feel in the exam. Obviously in your last couple of hours leading up to English, a major thing you want to focus on is memorizing your key quotes. Honestly, in the Shakespeare section of the paper, the quotes are so important, and obviously you don't just want to quote quotes and that's it. You obviously need to develop on that and support it with information. But honestly, the Shakespeare quotes I found so difficult to memorize because the wording in it was just so strange. So honestly, I do think it's a great idea to just learn them off now and have them in the front of your head for when you go into the exam. Honestly, if it's like 2 or 3 days before your exam, I still think that's a great time to just learn them off then. I don't think you're in a bad place because it's 2 or 3 days before the exam, because realistically you just want them at the front of your head, the very front of your memory, so you can spit them onto the page and never think of them again. And make sure you're learning different quotes for different themes, different characters, all of that, because they are so important in your essays. The next thing I want to talk about is revising like literary techniques. That is your things like imagery, symbolism, foreshadowing, irony, the whole lot. Recoup what they mean, when you can use them, examples of them for different themes and characters. Same with poetry, examples of them from different poems and why they are examples, because obviously the unseen poetry you will have never seen before. Definitely let's revise this. I know it's definitely something you've done at the very beginning of 6th year probably, but it's a great time to just actually go back on them and understand them because it might have been a while. The last thing I want to talk about is analysing your mock paper. I've talked about this before, but honestly I think for English this is a great thing. It obviously works for every subject, but especially with English when you don't really have a marking scheme. So at home you can't really correct your English paper on your own. Go back on your mock paper. I'm sure they marked horrendously hard and hopefully it will be better for the real paper. But go back, go through your essay, see why they marked you down, see where you lost marks, see where you gained marks, and understand what you could do a little bit differently in the real exam to increase your grade. Because at the end of the day, that is a real examiner marking your real essay, and so use that to your advantage. Don't be afraid to look at your mock paper, even if you did horrendously in it. It can literally just be used to your advantage. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Good luck in your English papers. I really hope they go well, and I'll talk to you all very soon. Bye!
Also guys, be sure to check out the ExamRevision courses and bundles. I actually have a 20% off code for you. I'll put it on the screen now. They cover majority of the Leaving Cert and Junior Cert subjects. They have H1 standard notes, video lessons, presentations, quizzes, exam questions, everything you will need to succeed in the Leaving Cert and Junior Cert.